Hello? Hello? Can y'all hear me out there? I can't hear y'all. Okay, that's more like it. All right, so first I want to give honor to God. You know, I come from an old school church. Pastor, right there is our pastor, Pastor James Fields. Y'all give James Fields a hand. If y'all know anything about our pastor, if you may have heard his name, you may not have. He ran for governor a couple of years back, and so we're excited to have him. Not only because he ran for governor, because he's always been a real true leader in my community where I'm from. I'm from a little small town called Colony, Alabama, and in our community, he was the first person that taught me how to shoot a real jump shot. You know, I used to shoot like this, and he was like, "Son, let me show you how to shoot it the right way." And so the success that I've had so far, since being out of prison, I give a lot of that. I give a lot of credit to the individuals, because you have to pay homage to the elders who got you to where you were. Because see, when I didn't know how to pray for myself, these people were praying for me. Amen. So y'all give him a round of applause. All right, so, and I want to, like I said, I come from an old school church, and so when the people used to get up there in church, they used to say things like, "I want to give honor to God, to the pastor, the church, and all the friends." So I want to give honor to God, to the pastor, the church, and all of you guys. I want to honor you guys right now. So I thank you guys for making this. Listen, when Pastor started watching us praise the block down, and he called me one morning. Me and him, I think we stayed on the phone at 6 o'clock in the morning for about an hour and a half. He was blessing me, and it was just, we were spirit bear witness by spirit. And so I knew at that very moment that it was truly God led. And so I've been watching him, I've been watching you guys here at the assembly, and you guys, y'all get it in. Yeah, y'all get it in. And I love it. And so I want to share a little portion of my story. I don't want to keep you long, and I think I got about 20, 30 minutes to do that. So my name is TJ Wilson. I am the director and CEO of Fresh Start Recovery Ministry. These are the guys that's in the ministry. Y'all give them guys a round of applause. These are all the guys. I'm from a very small town called Colony, Alabama. And so y'all got to keep up. So I'm going to go in a quick timeline. In that box is a book. Can you grab one of the books and just hold it for me? All right. So in 2002, well, let's start in 1993, I started using drugs. Hard drugs. At 10, I was smoking weed. At 6, I was drinking. I'm originally from Huntsville, Alabama. But my mom and my dad both were drug addicts. They lost me and my 5 brothers to, back then it was welfare. Now you know them as DHR. So welfare came in, took me and my brothers. They moved us from Huntsville, Alabama. I was raised in the projects of Huntsville, of Northwood. And so in the projects of Northwood, I had never met anybody white before. And then they moved me to a place called Coleman, Alabama, and I never saw black people again. So instantly, true story. Instantly, I'm culture shocked. All right, I don't have a clue where I'm at. I'm angry. At 6, I was molested as a kid. So at 6, I knew that if I could just get a hold of the substance in the bottle, they got my granddaddy and my grandma disheveled. You know, they're never their self anymore. And if I could get some of that, I knew it would change my mindset and I wouldn't think about what I've been through. So my whole adolescence. So when you work what we do at Fresh Start, we talk about an authentic program of recovery. When you work a real, true, authentic program of recovery, what that does is it makes you go back and get that problem that you had. That problem where it all, because see, drugs and alcohol, that's just a symptom of a bigger problem. And so it's always a bigger problem. My problem was the molestation. And so by 6, I was drinking. By 10, I started smoking weed. I didn't start smoking weed because it was a thing to do. I was in my neighborhood, my new hometown, and the police was chasing a guy, and he threw this Crown Royal bag out. Me and my brothers went and got the bag. We looked in it, and it was these little cigarettes wrapped up. And so between 6 and 10, nothing was funny to me. I'm that kid where nothing was funny. I'm the one everybody was like, something wrong with him. He weird, he's strange. TJ, what's wrong with you all the time? Why you look like that? I'm that kid. And so at that time when we got the little Crown Royal bag, I went behind the house, me and my brothers. My older brother said, hey, look, we can light this up and smoke it. We did. I laughed forever. Till I got lockjaw. Laughed. I did, literally. And so I thought at that very moment that I was normal, just like all the other kids. Because the other kids were laughing, they were playing games. To this day, to this very day, I still don't know how to play video games because I never would play them. I didn't think that they were fun. I didn't think anything was fun. I was that kind of kid. I was recluse. I always stayed in my own little zone. And so at 10, I started smoking weed. At 13, I found out that you could put some stuff in the weed. And so because you know, the weed no longer does the job now, I still got this thing going on the inside of me. I don't know who I am or what I am. So when the kids make jokes on the playground and they say things on the playground, I'm thinking, is that me? Are they talking about me? They don't know what happened to me, but I think they're talking about me. And so in the midst of me thinking they're talking about me, this weed just ain't doing it anymore. And so I started adding to the weed. By the time I was 17, I was a full-blown addict. Here's the thing though, by being a full-blown addict, I'm an athlete at the same time. Basketball was my outlet. That's the only thing I love to do. I became really good at basketball. Because my parents didn't send us to school when I was in Huntsville, when I got to Coleman, Alabama, I'm starting school late, so they hold me back. So when I'm supposed to be in first grade, I'm in kindergarten. So by the time I get to my senior year of basketball, remember, I'll show you, I'll hurt me. And so in the midst of it, by the time I get to my senior year, I'm too old to play the game. So the coach tells me either we can play and forfeit all the games, or we gotta put you off the team. So here it is. I already been angry. Here I'm in active addiction. I'm a full-blown drug addict. I get mad at them and I said, you know what? I'll just quit. I'll show you, I'll hurt me. And that's exactly what I did. By 21, I was entering prison's door. I had already been from 17 to 21. I've been to jail about 16 times. Mr. Fields used to ask me, what's wrong with you, TJ? TJ, what's wrong with you? You gonna get it together or what? And so, like I said, I'm thankful for the individuals that prayed when I didn't know how to pray. And so, I ended up going to prison when I was 21 years old. I get out of prison at about 23. Close to 23, and I stay out a couple of months and I go right back. The first one was a slap on the wrist. The second one, it was a knock you down. They gave me a 20-year sentence, and I had to go to a place called St. Clair Maximum Security Prison because I had a Class A trafficking case and they considered it violent. So I had to go where all the individuals that were violent were at. Well, listen to me. Hey, listen to me, y'all. I ain't made for that. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret real quick. You know what I'm talking about? Listen, I'm not made for that. And so, as bad as I wanted to be, as hood as I wanted to be, as gangster as I wanted to be, the very moment that I got there, I said, I'm from Coleman, Alabama. I'm not gangster. And so, you know, in prison, you have your zones, right? In prison, you have your zones. So you have. In Alabama, you have your cities. So you got the Montgomery crew, the Huntsville crew, the Birmingham crew, the Mobile crew. There's not a Coleman crew. And so I'm in there like, I'm grateful because there's not a Coleman crew, because what that did, it allowed me to be able to stand alone. I have nobody at this very moment except for Jesus. At this very moment, while I'm in that prison, while I'm in prison, they put me in this program called Therapeutic Community. It's the most intense drug rehab program in the state of Alabama, and it's in the prison. And so I go to this program called Therapeutic Community. This program teaches me how to work a program of recovery. I stay in this program. It's a 24-month program. They say if you graduate the program, it's a 1% graduation rate. If you graduate it, they give you what's called a major parole cut. If you graduate, only 1 out of 100 people graduate. Needless to say, that was all the hope that I needed. I graduated that program. I was one that graduated that program. Remind you now, all my Coleman, Alabama came out of me then. Yes, sir. No, sir. I can do that, sir. Sure, sir. I'll do the work. You know what I mean? Sure, I got it. I don't want to be in this prison. Because see, prison is different than the street. And so when people go to talking about I can do that time on my head, you know, because I'm around people that say that, man, they lying. They lying. Because I am not going to do this time. I don't want to do it. And so what I stayed at that prison for almost 4 years, a little over 4 years. I ended up making it to work release to a place called Childersburg Work Release. While I was doing the time in therapeutic community, God told me to do something. It was weird. It was strange, because you got to be mindful when you go to telling people God told you to do something. You know, cause people be like, yeah, God ain't saying nothing to me. How he say something to you? You know, because I used to be that individual. You know, when my grandparents be like, well, God told me, baby, I'd be like, man, whatever. I don't know. He ain't told me nothing. And so the reason he hadn't told me anything at that very moment, because I hadn't tried him for myself. See, it wasn't until I tried him for myself that he started speaking to my spirit. And so what he started doing something that's called revelate. He started giving me his revelation, that I'm giving you right now. He would give me these little bitty small revelations, and I'd be like, what is that? Like, what is, like, out the blue, I'm in prison, I'm walking the yard, and in the midst of walking the yard, I can hear something playing in my head. It's a Wednesday day, my mom's favorite song, who's dead and gone. She died because her heart exploded from smoking crack. She's dead and gone, but I'm walking the yard, and as I'm walking the yard, her song comes on a Wednesday on 95.7, the rap station. It's a song called Never Would Have Made It by Marvin Sapp. And so in the midst of listening on Wednesday, the song comes on, and I hear, never would have made it. And so at that very moment, God started telling me to praise dance at the prison. You ever praise dance in front of 2,000 men? You know what it's like to praise dance in front of 2,000 men now. I just want you to know. Listen, in the prison, I told God for a long time that ain't something that I'm going to do. So for the first 5 or 6 months, I kept telling him no, but it wouldn't leave me alone. He kept giving me what's called revelations. And the reason he kept giving me revelations is because we started having what's called relations.
Right. Amen.
I started supping with him. I started sitting with him. They said the only way to be able to get close to God, because this is what individuals were telling me, the only way to be able to get close to him, to know him for myself, I had to have some type of relationship with him. And so how do I do that? They said, hey man, you got to get in the word. Right. Once you start getting in this word, he'll do what's called reveal himself to you. Yeah. And so in the midst, he started revealing himself to me. And so here I am at that prison. And these weird, never would have made it without you. These weird things was just taking on my mind. And you know, I came under a lot of scrutiny in the prison. I did. I came along because most of the men, you know, they're masculine men. This prison, you can't cry, you can't, these men. And so these men, they start making fun of me. And they started doing what the kids used to do when I was a kid on the playground. They started talking about me, calling me out of my name. And in the midst of calling me out of my name, it was doing something. So, but God did something. He said, who you worshiping, them or me? So I just kept worshiping. I want you to understand something. A 20-year sentence in the state of Alabama, a 20 is 20. You don't get any good time. So there's, you know, over here in Georgia, I think you do 85% of the time. Well, over there in Alabama, 20 is 20. I didn't find out 20 was 20 until I got to prison. We perish for a lack of knowledge. I don't know that 20 years is 20 years. I thought it was going to be like the 5 years that I got to begin with, and I did it like 13 months, and I was released because I'd done my time. That's not the case with 20. So I find out 20 is 20. And so while I'm there doing the 20 years, I started praise dancing all the time. It didn't matter, and I praise danced to the song over and over and over. I never knew that David praised out of his clothes. I never knew that. I didn't. But man, I started relationship in that word, and I found out that David danced right out of his clothes to prove a point to the people that he'll do whatever it takes to show God his praise. So here it is. I said, okay, God, I'll do whatever it takes to show you my praise. I want you to know I got out that prison in 5 years. David danced out of his clothes, but I danced right out of prison. Literally, out of prison. Fast forward, I go to a place, I send out, I want you to hear this because you got to understand, because I want to brag on Jesus. This is not TJ. This is all Jesus. I need you to understand, I want to brag on him because God told me something while I was in the prison. I asked God, what do you want me to do? He said, just be obedient. So I want to brag on Jesus for a second because this is all him and none of me, because it could have been nobody else but him. And here's how you know it couldn't have been him. I was in prison in 2013. I got out in 2013. I went to the rehab. I sent out letters all across the state when I was coming up for parole. I sent a letter to every halfway house and rehab in Alabama. Only one sent me a letter back. That one that sent me a letter back was called Truth Recovery Ministries in Talladega, Alabama. I'm from Coleman. Sent me to Talladega. So I paroled out to the place called Truth Recovery Ministry in Talladega in 2013. Now here's the good part. It's so many good parts. I brought a book. If you want to get some of it, it's in the book. All right. But here's the great part, because it couldn't have been nobody but God. I stayed at that program 3 years under a different type of scrutiny, because everybody in the rehab used to make fun of me because I was still there after 3 years. And the only reason I was there after 3 years because I was terrified to go back to my neighborhood where they still getting drunk and high at, and I didn't have a place to go. So I made it my business to stay there no matter what. Why? So I could get some strength. See, I didn't have no strength before. See, when you work a real program of recovery, you're able to get some strength so you can go back to your hometown. Whenever you go back, you can resist Lil Tay-Tay them. You know, Lil Tay-Tay them still getting it in. And so you want to be able to resist those individuals. Well, you can't resist. A lot of people think that they can, but if you don't have they call it in the recovery world, a few 24 hours under your belt, you can't resist. You're going back to do the same thing you did before. A wise man told me if I keep going to the barbershop, eventually I'm going to get a haircut. So I said I need to stay out that shop. I'm going to grow afro until I can get some strength. Until I can get some strength. Well, I ended up getting me some strength. I stayed at that program 3 years. I graduated that program. I became the assistant director to that program. I asked the owner of the program what he thought about me opening my own program. He gave me his blessing, and I opened up Fresh Start Recovery Ministry. I got the building February of 2016. We had our grand opening October 3rd of 2016. November of 2016, Truth Recovery Ministry shuts down. The owner has cancer. Jim, he has cancer. The program shuts down. December of 2016, my mentor, the guy that taught me everything that I know about the recovery process and the business side of it, I don't even know why he done it. That's a whole nother part of the book. But he ends up dying in December. February of 2017, February is my month. I just want y'all to know God is good. He's been blessing me in February. I don't know what it is about it, but I know God, everything that I call odd is God to me. He gets in there and he does his thing. And so February of 2017, God allowed me to be able to buy the property that I paroled out of prison to. So now I'm the owner of the program that I paroled out of prison to. How about that? See, I want to brag on Jesus. See, how am I bragging on Jesus? Because I want to tell you that, see, all the way back, I'm finna go back to prison. All the way back in 2009 when I got to prison, God knew I was going to be at the assembly in 2021. How did he know I was going to be at the assembly? See, because God knows all and he sees all. He says, hey, listen, if my child, you hear me? If my children who are called by my name, you hear me, will repent and turn from their wicked ways, I will heal their land. I want you to understand something. This could have been nobody but God. I didn't know Jim. I didn't know him. I never met him in my life. He's the only person that sent me a letter back to the prison. Now I own that program. I've never owned any. I don't know what no D look like. I ain't never owned no D. I don't know what no D. I remember the day I got it, they said you got to go to the attorney office and get your deed. I said, what the D's is? What the D's is? I don't know what no D's is. I ain't never had no D. I ain't never owned no car. So I don't even know what the title looked like. So But I'm grateful to that. So let's fast forward. I opened up Fresh Start. I turned Truth Recovery Ministries into Fresh Start Phase 2 and 3. It came with 11 acres. And so 11 acres, a restaurant, and a 3,500 square foot house. I want you to know, when I got the place, it was kind of run down. I hadn't been there in a while. It was kind of run down, but there were some things in the building that was left there. I sold those things on 2 Saturdays, the next 2 Saturdays, and I ended up making about $17,000 on the stuff that was sold. All right? Those $17,000 I put back into the facility. I remodeled the restaurant, and I remodeled the house next door, and I turned it into the Phase 3, the Phase 2, and Phase 3 of Fresh Start Recovery Ministry. Each phase is 4 months, and that's where we're at now. Now, you would think that was, you know, God has done so much, and I'm so honored and I'm so grateful. You would think that was all. But just like the pastor said, man, hey, listen, God, I want to brag on Jesus because it couldn't have been anybody. Remember, I squandered my opportunity to play ball. I squandered that opportunity. I quit school and I didn't do anything. I got my GED while I was in prison. I won a couple championships in prison, you hear me? I won 2 championships while I was there. You hear about me? You didn't hear about me, did you? Because them championships don't even matter, you know? And so I ended up getting out, still loving basketball. See, because now my life has changed, so I go back to trying to do the things that I love, and I ended up starting a church league in my town. All my players are from Fresh Start at the time. Not these guys. These guys can't play. You know what I'm saying? You know, not the, also my bad, guys, my bad. He can play. That's because I'm nervous about him. He might beat me up afterwards. So we started church league, and our church league is beating all our guys from the rehab, beating everybody around town. We 10-0. All the churches, they wonder, man, where these dudes from the rehab, they coming in here, you know, we talk junk to the people at the church. It can be the pastor on the floor. We block his shot and tell him, you ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. We don't care, you the preacher. You bring that layup in here, bow, get that stuff out of here. You know, and but in all seriousness, we started this church league. We was going 10-0, man, and next thing you know, the word around town was, hey, it's a guy coaching the church league. And so, needless to say, fast forward, man, I got a call one day, and it was the coach of really how me and Miss Ivy. Let me tell y'all how this, because I can't let it go. So one day, me and Miss Ivy, we were sitting at her desk, and she was looking at a job to go look for a job at Talladega College. And so while she was looking at the job, she says, hey, there's a basketball coach position at Talladega College. Well, I don't have the credentials. I know you need like a master's degree. Well, I got a GED. And so I said, it'd be good if I went up there and tried to qualify for that job. You know, we laughed about it. You know what I mean? Talladega College is an HBCU. That's Historical Black University, okay? All right, listen to me, follow me. Talladega College hires a white coach. I said, man, what in the world? I said, this Historical Black College, they hire a white coach. I don't know him. We laugh about the fact that they hired the white coach, and next thing you know, I meet the coach. I don't know him for Adam. I meet him, man, and when I say the love of Christ is all over this man, the love of God is all over this man. And so, me and him, we become friends. Remember, God knew. And we become friends. Next thing you know, we're laughing and joking, and he says, TJ, you know, it'd be funny. What would be cool is if you was the coach of the JV team for Talladega College. I laughed. I said, man, I ain't got the credentials. You know, we laughed it off. And a couple of weeks later, the coach gets fired. They called me. They said, hey, listen, man, we got a job that's coming open for the coach's position. And man, we want you to be the coach. Well, I tripped out. I bust out laughing. Y'all tripping. Somebody pranking me. This is a TV show somewhere. And so, but needless to say, I became the coach of the Talladega JV team. So my team plays all junior college. We just left over here in Georgia. Hey, listen, Alabama may have beat Georgia, but my team got beat 3 times while I was over here. We can't come over here and win a game. I don't know what it is. We get over here, we just get scared. And so, but God blessed me to be able to be the head coach for the JV team and the assistant coach for the varsity team. And here's my championship ring from last year where we won the championship last year. And I like to wear it when I go places. I'm the only one that wear my ring. Y'all know why you know why I wear my ring? Because folks be like, well, you act like you ain't never had nothing. You right, I hadn't. I'm going to wear mine. I don't know if y'all going to wear y'all, but I'm going to wear mine. Hey, listen, I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for allowing me and Fresh Start to come and just be a part of what you guys got going on. Hey, listen, we love what you guys on. We watch what you guys have going on, man, and you guys are a blessing to us. You guys give us inspiration. If you want an opportunity to know more about the story, man, my story is in this book. All right. This book, you know, the Word of God says that speak it as though it is, right? So this is a bestseller. I'm a firm believer. If I can dance my way out of prison, I can speak my book into bestseller. Yeah, y'all get that tomorrow. Yeah. All right, so the book is called Pressure Makes Diamonds. Because God will do exceedingly, abundantly, above all that I could ever imagine in this 3-pound brain of mine. And he'll do it for you. If God did it for me, he'll do it for you. Hey, listen, if you want a copy of the book, man, we got them over here. God bless you guys. Pastor. God bless you. Thank you, brother.